special guest, and the media. John, welcome. As we gather this evening, we pause to remember that in this province we live and work on lands that are by law the unceded territories of the Wabanaki peoples, predominantly the land of the Mi'kmaq. May we live with respect on this land and live in peace and friendship with its people. We also recognize the African Nova Scotians whose culture, heritage, and history have been and remain a key part of our province for more than 400 years. Could I ask for the approval of the agenda? Moved by Deputy Mayor Dorrington, seconded by Councillor McDonald. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we have a special presentation this evening with a presentation by Creative Picture County, and we have their executive director. Second time in New Glasgow today, I should add. Welcome, Carissa, and you have a PowerPoint I see, so you're going to go through that? Okay.
Yep, so it's a PDF that I made into a slideshow so it plays on its own, so I don't have to do anything. It's great. So my name is Carissa, and I'm the Executive Director of Creative Pictou County. And thank you so much for giving us time to speak tonight. So essentially, we've been going around all the towns across Pictou County to present on Creative Pictou County and what we're doing and where we've come from, just to let everyone know what's going on. And we've been around for over 10 years, and definitely a huge thanks to the town of Glasgow who helped us take our first few steps all those years ago, and definitely the plethora of volunteers that have gotten us to this point. We recently added arts and wellness pillar to our mission and vision, so we're pretty excited about that. But we've definitely grown in leaps and bounds over the last number of years. And again, that is thanks to the amazing volunteers that we've had over the years. So we definitely want to make sure that we give thanks to those folks who come before us. I am the first executive director, so we've been able to get to the point where we've received operational funding to pay for my salary, which is really exciting. Where previously we just been hiring staff on a yearly basis, mostly for projects. So I've been really able to have a strategic planning role in this position for the organization. So we've had a lot of really exciting updates. The most recent, of course, is our new office space and studio space in the new DeCoste Culture Hub in Pictou. And even though we do have a home base there, we do serve the entire county. We definitely continue to do so. So this example here is our artist kiosk in the Museum of Industry, and that was something that was launched last year. And essentially it's a little mini gallery space in the museum that allows us to showcase a number of artists and collectives. And these are just a sampling of some of the exhibitions that we've already done with the DeCoste Culture Hub. So now there are 4 gallery spaces in the DeCoste, and there are different sizes, and eventually they'll have, sexier names. Right now it's, the theater gallery, the Marie Room gallery, the small gallery, the micro gallery, but hopefully at some point we'll be able to name each of those spaces and have, specific mandates for those. And this show is really something I'm pretty proud of. This just opened today, actually. So this is a collective exhibition featuring the folks from Northumberland Arts Council, the Tattagouche, us, and Antigonish Culture Alive. And so this show is in the Marie Room, and it'll be up all summer. And especially with everyone coming in, everything that's happening with Ship Hector, and certainly tourism season, there'll be a lot of folks coming through the DeCoste. So I really wanted to showcase the importance of having 3 arts councils collaborate on an exhibition. And we'll definitely have some programming in the works between our arts councils over the years. So this is Artistry in Action. So this is a fully funded project from the Community Culture, Tourism and Heritage, and essentially brings together 5 artists to showcase their work and essentially pop up their studio spaces. It really gives the audience an inside look into what goes into a piece of art. And so we have a couple of events there. Emerging Artist Award. So this is our 2nd year giving an artist an award in partnership with Coastal Nova Scotia. And this year we were able to give an artist an emerging award. And I feel like that's a really important thing for us to be able to do. We're not at the point as an organization where we have an awards ceremony ourselves. So in the spirit of partnership, we did reach out to Coastal Nova Scotia. And they've been fantastic to give us space and time to present a couple of artists with some awards. And this is a project that will be featured here at Glasgow Square in October. So it's our Stories Across Generations project. And that pairs 5 local artists, 5 newcomers, 5 newcomer artists, 5 local elders. And that is a fully funded project through Arts Nova Scotia. And essentially there'll be 10 pieces of art that will get showcased in those 2 events that are on the screen. And we're really excited about this project, getting a lot of good buzz and really good conversations. And last weekend, we had a pretty big event, Becoming a Film Town. This is our 2nd Economic Development Forum for Artists, and really great conversations came out of that event. We had a forum, a reception, and a workshop, as well as some screenings, and there was a lot of really great folks in the room. And we've already had people reach out to say, hey, we want to make sure that the industry is strong in Pictou County, so we have some folks who already want to volunteer their time to make that happen. So those conversations were great, plus our speakers that were there for the day were fantastic. And again, these are happening really fast, these slides. So our workshop space is, certainly in Pictou as well as across the county as well. But we're also planning on doing some artist in residence programs this summer as well. Again, with so many folks coming through the cost to have an artist in that space and just kind of working on their projects, that people can kind of look at them fishbowl mode, similar to Harbourfront Centre in Toronto, where people are making work and folks can just kind of stop in and witness some really awesome work happening. So some of these workshops have already passed. Obviously, we're not in March anymore, but we've done some really great things with youth. For example, the stop motion workshop plus a painting workshop we did with youth in January as well. So we're slowly starting to utilize that space. Intro to Drawing, we did that as well in May. This is an old slide deck from my past presentations, but being able to use that space to provide artists an opportunity to talk about their work, to teach, to learn as well. So we're definitely trying to do more professional development for artists, how to write a grant, how to prepare for an exhibition, those kinds of things, to really level set artists across Pictou County and across mediums as well. So we have, painters, drawers, photographers, textile artists, as well, filmmakers, kind of across the gamut, as well as, across the gamut in terms of their experience from emerging to professional, as well as, engaging with the community at large and giving them an opportunity to take workshops from professional artists to learn more about whatever practice they want to get into, as well as providing, social time. So this was something we did back in April and brought some folks together. So here are some things. I'm actually going to press pause. It's not much faster than I want to do. These are some things that we're working on right now. So, documenting artwork as well is really quite important, especially in this day and age. Having the ability to have really good photos of your work online, on your website, on your social media. If you're applying for an exhibition, having really good, clear photos. So again, these are things that we'll be working on for programming. A youth film program. So this is in partnership with the Pearl System, Pictou Antigonish Regional Library, to do some digital media as well. There's some fantastic new screens in the DeCoste as well as in all the branches. So, making work that could be shown digitally across the branches and give the youth a chance to show their work across county lines as well. And critique sessions, those are really important. I went to art school and those are something that we did quite often, and those are quite valuable as well. Not so much to have someone poo-poo your work, but let's talk about this. I'm really stuck on this piece, but to give someone a chance to talk about their work, which is a skill, to talk about your own work, but also learn from others, different perspectives, things like that is invaluable to an artist. And we have some other workshops in the works as well, but really being able to use that space, and then hopefully once New Glasgow is finished as well, doing some work here as well. But again, our Pictou County, or Pictou Antigonish Regional Library has been a fantastic partner to us in providing space for us to do workshops and programming and things like that. So, being able to partner with different organizations across the county is so very important. And actually, one of my previous iterations of this was a Sisterhood Fibers Circle. We're working with them. They're from Townagush. They've been coming in and doing Sisterhood Circles, where it's a fiber group. So they've been coming in the first Tuesday of every month and partnering with some local folks who do work in fiber and really providing a space for folks to get together. We can resume that. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, the Power Partnership has really been, I think, the key to our success. We've been working with the Pictou County Partnership and certainly all of our municipal partners as well in different programs, certainly PARL, and I think that's really been a key to being, you know, a successful rural arts organization. And these are just some examples of things that we did in 2024. That was, thank you. This was a really big year for Creative Pictou County. I was working on our operational grant for the province, and you know, as part of that, you're supposed to look the year before and compare it to what you have coming ahead. And so I looked at our previous application for 2024, you know, looking at 2023, and we only did about 14 events that year. 2024, we did over 40. So we've had a huge jump in our ability to reach out to the community and do different things. That was also the year that we brought in Craft Nova Scotia to do a workshop. Visual Arts Nova Scotia partnered with us on our free professional development for artists program. And we also were quite successful in connecting with Culture Days. So they are a Canada-wide organization, and but they don't have an Atlantic Canada contact. So I had to go all the way up to their ED and had some great conversations with them, and were able to get some special highlights on Pictou County as an arts hub. And because of our activities last year, we actually placed 9th in the small municipalities category for most communities engaged, and the only community in Atlantic Canada to do so. So I'm hoping this year we'll be able to expand on that, and certainly with the support of our community partners as well. We can't do it all, but I know I've reached out to a few folks in this room to try to get, you know, some events listed on that website. And the great thing about that is, you know, once we have that hub, it's all laid out on the map, color coded and everything, and it's a great way for folks to engage with free arts and culture programming. So. So we're really hopeful on that, but we did a series of pop-up exhibitions last year as part of that project, and did a really cool art crawl where we actually had a musician on the bus that we were able to get from Chad Transit. So it was a lot of fun, and so last year was a huge year, over $12,000 paid to artists, which we've already exceeded that already this year. So we're really excited to see our stats for 2025. These are always fun to kind of do at the end of the year. And I mean, 30 plus events, I mean, that is also inaccurate as well. This was kind of done in November. So, but we're definitely hoping to exceed that for this year, which is really exciting to kind of see how we've grown and talking to folks who've been around since the beginning. So here's our Culture Days stat there. But it's pretty big. And actually, I was recently on an info call about Culture Days 2025, and they actually, as part of their presentation, included Pictou County on their presentation. So, a good chunk of folks from across the country saw us on that slideshow, so that was really kind of cool. I took a photo and sent it to our board chair. I was like, we're famous. So that was really kind of fun to be able to share that as well. But that's basically my presentation. If anybody has any questions, I'm here. I'm always available, and we definitely look forward to connecting and working on creative projects with the town of Glasgow. Thank you.
Thank you, Carissa, very, very much. And I think I was around 10 years ago when this started, and it's incredible the journey that you've been on and where you are right now. It's really, really wonderful and lovely to have you in the position that you're in. I'm just going to ask council if there's any questions or comments I'd like to make, or Councillor Peters.
I would just say that the fact that there's now an executive director position, it really opens up the doors to be able to do so much more, and it's obviously evident by everything to share, so good on you, it's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, and like I said, being a rural arts organization, we kind of have to rely on our partnerships, so that's really part of my role is outreach and connecting with folks, and it's a lot of fun.
Great job. Just to make a comment about, I guess it's bringing it back to New Glasgow. There's a presentation that was just opened at, not a presentation, at the Museum of Industry on Saturday. Presentation.
We did a reception.
Reception. It was the Vale Road quilters.
Yeah.
And Beverly Bowden were featured. Pretty incredible work. I was aware of the Vale Road quilters, but not Beverly's work, which is
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
Yeah,
So-
she's an amazing artist, and she had a lot of fun on Saturday as well. It was great to have her there as part of the celebrations, and her husband knew everybody, and he was a great wingman. He brought everybody over, and it was a lot of fun. So yeah,
You're a good duo.
yeah.
Anyway, any other questions before? All right, thank you again, Carissa. We
Yeah.
really appreciate the time this evening, and thank you for all your great work.
It's been a long day, so I'm
It has been a long day for you.
Okay, it's pretty exciting.
yeah.
Okay, I'm going to ask for approval of the consent agenda. That's our minutes of our last meeting and our proclamations.
So moved, your worship.
Moved by Councillor Fraser,
I'll second that.
seconded by Councillor Peters. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. On to our approval of the reports. If there's a report that you'd like to pull out or something from one of the reports that you'd like to pull out, let us know. We do them each individually, right?
Yes, your worship, all moved.
No, just a sec, Joe, we have to backtrack here. I was thinking, before we remove these from the whole consent agenda, sorry. We're gonna go committee report by committee report. So we're gonna begin with the committee of the whole report.
Yes, your worship, all move that we accept the committee and alcohol report as tonight.
Moved by Councillor McDonald,
I'll second that.
seconded by Councillor Peters. Any question on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. The engineering and public works report.
Yes, your worship, all also move that we accept the engineering and public works report as submitted.
Moved by Councillor McDonald,
Second that.
seconded by Deputy Mayor Dorrington. Any questions on the motion? I think Councillor Peters, you already spoke to something that maybe could have been said. Yeah, you want to repeat it again?
Certainly. I just wanted to give kudos to all the work that's been done, painting lines and making our crosswalk safe, and it looks amazing, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilor.
Any other questions? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm not sure if the flowers fall here.
No, community development. Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Solid waste report,
Accept the report as submitted.
moved by Deputy Mayor Dorrington,
Second that.
seconded by Councillor Peters. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. The police report,
Move to accept it as circulated.
moved by Deputy Mayor Dorrington,
All second.
seconded by Councillor Fraser. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Community development report,
Move acceptance of the community development report, your worship.
moved by Councillor McKenna,
Second that.
seconded by Councillor Peters. Any questions on the motion? Go ahead, Councillor Peters.
I would just like to say that the flowers and the beautification of the town looks amazing. Our trails look clean and everything looks spectacular. So, thank you.
Flowers, banners, everything.
The banners, flowers, banners, everything.
Everything, just
Yeah.
stunning.
Your worship.
Yes, go ahead,
I'd
Councillor
like
Fraser.
to add to that I've seen places that were always filled with garbage in certain parts of town. basically never got cleaned up, even often when we had Arbor Day or whatever. But now I've seen them and I see somebody got there. Anyway, the vacant spaces is what I was thinking. I think of where the Kinsman Opportunity Center once was, and that location
Oh,
there.
yes.
That comes to mind. And unfortunately, when we hit the road to go to the city, we often see a trail of mess alongside the road. But that's not necessarily done today. Anyway, I just wanted to add to what Councilor Peters commented.
The town looks beautiful, it really does. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Business Development Officer report,
Your worship, I'll move that we accept the business development officer's report.
moved by Councillor McDonald,
I'll second that.
seconded by Councillor McKenna. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. The fire report and fire inspection report.
Yes, your worship, I move that we accept the fire report and fire inspection report as circulated.
Moved by Councillor Peters,
Second that.
seconded by Councillor McDonald. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. The building report,
Yes, your worship, I move that we accept the building report as circulated.
moved by Councillor Peters, seconded by Deputy Mayor Dorrington. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, motion carried. The information technology report,
Yes, your worship, I move that we accept the information technology report as circulated.
moved by Councillor Peters, seconded by Councillor McDonald. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Strategic initiatives and projects report,
Yes, your worship, I move that we adopt the strategic initiatives and projects report as circulated.
moved by Councillor McKenna,
Second that.
seconded by Councillor Fraser. Any questions on the motion?
Excuse me, but
Yes, go ahead.
I'm still reading, okay?
I'm still-
There's quite a substantial amount of information in that report. I'm reading the report, and it's quite impressive. The overhaul of some of the bylaws that we have. Or am I in the wrong? Yep,
Would you check him, Councillor Dorrington, to see if he's in the right place?
yeah. Right here. Anyway, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you to the staff for excellent reports and all the work you've done over the last month. What? Oh, human resources, I'm sorry, Rebecca.
Your worship, I'll motion that we accept the human resource report.
Moved by Councillor McDonald,
Second that.
seconded by Councillor McKenna. All in favor, any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Again, thank you to all staff, especially you, Rebecca, for your reports. Okay, on to new business, the accounts.
Yes, yes, your worship. I would move that we pay the accounts as circulated in the package.
Thank you, moved by
I'll
Councillor
second that.
Fraser,
I'll second that.
seconded by Councillor McDonald. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Recommendation from our in-camera.
Your worship, I'll,
It is.
Oh, just one second.
It is the recommendation of council to proceed with the purchase of PID 00897306 located in the primary and secondary watersheds.
Your worship, I'll move that we accept item number 1, which is the purchase of PID 00897306.
Moved by Councillor McDonald,
I'll second that.
seconded by Councillor Fraser. Any question on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
It is the recommendation of council to proceed with facilitating the demolition of 154 Alexander Street, PID 00946640 through a contractor and apply the cost to the tax account for the property.
Yes, Your Worship, I would move that we adopt that report, as it's already done.
Moved by Councillor Fraser,
I will second that.
seconded by Councillor Peters. Any question on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, everyone. And with that, motion to adjourn, moved by Deputy Mayor Dorrington. Just take a couple of minutes, just sign some papers. Two additions, two under unfinished business. The B, citizen appointments to committee of council, and C, FCM annual conference report. So a motion to approve of those
Yes,
additions.
Your Worship, I move to approve those two new additions to the agenda.
Moved by Councillor Peters, seconded by Deputy Mayor Dorrington. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Okay, under motion matters for senior staff, we have a recommendation from the Director of Community Development. The recommendation is a motion to approve the adoption of proposed Carmichael Park policy to replace the following three policies. Use of Carmichael Park policy, August 17th, 1992. Structures and monuments in Carmichael Park, November 9th, 1998. And Carmichael Park policy effective November 2009, and all of it's combined into one policy, which was really well done. So a motion to approve.
Yes, Your Worship, I'll move that we accept the policy in that sacred place that we are guardians of.
Moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Deputy Mayor Dorrington. Any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Recommendation from the Director of Corporate Services, Credit Card and Purchasing Card Policy, it is recommended that a new credit card and purchasing card policy be adopted by the town of New Glasgow. All of the information is in your package. Moved by Deputy Mayor Dorrington,
I'll second that.
seconded by Councillor Peters. Are there any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried. Recommendation from the Director of Engineering and Active Living Manager, accessible stairs and ramp at Ward 1 Recreation Center. It is recommended to council that the sole proponent, I. Matheson and Company Limited of New Glasgow, be awarded the DB contract. IMCO are required to design the accessible stairs and ramp, fabricate the components, and assemble and construct the exterior entrance features. All work is to meet current accessibility requirements. Total price is $142,970 plus HST. The contractor agrees to complete the work 14 weeks after award.
So moved.
Moved by Councillor McKenna, seconded by Deputy Mayor Dorrington. Are there any questions on the motion?
Question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I believe you were first.
No, you go ahead.
Just wondering through to our town engineer, do you have any idea of the timelines that are involved at this point going forward after the awarding of this tonight?
Yes, Councillor, the timelines are broken down, I believe, in the recommendation. Much of it is, involves the production of shop drawings, then there'll be the fabrication of the units and then the construction. So it seems like a lengthy period of time to have a ramp and stairs, but this is reasonable and the work will be done within the 14 weeks.
So it starts tonight?
Councillor, I will advise the IMATHSons tomorrow that council has approved the recommendation, and I'll have a contract in place with them most likely by end of day tomorrow. So that is the start of the project, correct?
Thank you. I'd just like to add for the record, it is unfortunate that it's not going to be done, and it's not pointing blame at anyone, but it's unfortunate that it won't be done before the homecoming that occurs annually. Thank you.
Question was, even though they've indicated 14 weeks, the last time we had staircase made for the marina, it went well beyond the length of time, so was there any conditions put in terms of they're not meeting that? Is there any backup plans for that?
Councillor Dornigan, I'll personally, push the contractor hard on this to make sure that it doesn't start slipping. Again, there's quite a bit of effort up front to make all these components have to be done on computer before it's, and then gets sent away to Halifax to be hot dip galvanized in components and then comes back. So, but I'm aware that it's required, necessary at Ward 1 Recreation Center.
No, I was just making sure that we're not coming with this time next year asking where is the ramp?
Any further questions?
Question.
Go ahead.
Yes, Your Worship. I'm just wondering, is there going to be consultation, the organizers of the homecoming? And if it's going to be at a place where there's going to be no ramp to get into the building during the homecoming, because that would be a concern.
Our community development director will speak to that.
Yes, so Councillor Peters, the board of directors at Ward 1 are well aware that there will be at least a week period in which demolition will have to happen, and then the stairs and the ramp put into place. And so we are working directly with the Ward 1 group, board of directors to ensure that they're that we're not impeding any of their already established contracts with both a formal renter they have on site, as well as any of the activities within the center.
With regards to the homecoming. Yes? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, so the Ward 1 will be communicating directly with the homecoming committee. Our direct contact is with the Ward 1 center and their board of directors.
Thank you.
And there is a summer program happening there all summer.
Yes, so they have an agreement with the YMCA for the running of their programs. If we're looking at a later summer demolition, the Y is aware that they may have to pull out in order to put their programs somewhere else, and we'll work directly with the Y to ensure that we're able to find something for them, again in consultation with the Ward 1 and board of directors.
Thank you.
Any further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. We have a recommendation from the Glasgow Regional Police Chief and Traffic Authority processing requests for children playing traffic awareness signs. So there is a policy. The policy provides a structured and evidence-informed approach to managing public requests related to the placement of children playing traffic awareness signage within our residential neighborhoods. While these signs are often requested with good intentions, research and practical experience have demonstrated that their efficacy in improving road safety is limited and in some cases counterproductive. The proposed policy reflects best practices by integrating public safety considerations, education, and enforcement into a comprehensive decision-making framework. This ensures that all signage requests are evaluated with a consistent, transparent, and accountable process that prioritizes actual safety outcomes for children and the broader community.
So move to accept the recommendation.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Dorrington,
I'll second.
seconded by Councillor Fraser. Any questions on the motion?
Yes, Your Worship.
Go ahead, Councillor
Question to
Fraser.
our chief. Excuse me. I've had a few people who travel at least 100 miles and find that there are safe streets in neighborhoods where residential neighborhoods, and I'm talking about the city of Halifax. And they have, this gentleman said instead of having speed humps, they have speed humps rather than not speed bumps, okay? And the point being is that in residential spaces, you can slow traffic down if the person driving thinks they're going to get a bump or a hump. And I did a little survey and I got a little bit of video, but I haven't taken it to your attention until right now. It's the right time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fraser. Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Every recommendation that I look at, I take into consideration speed calming techniques. And in fact, we were talking about that with another issue that's not connected to this today, and made that recommendation that we start looking at all traffic calming measures, speed related specifically, that are out there, and speed humps are seem to be emerging as one of the trends across the country. There's other measures in terms of pump modes and environmental design when we're looking at new areas and things like that. But there are a number of speed calming measures that we can look at as well.
I would have to think though that the people operating the snowplows would wonder if that was a good idea, but obviously it works in other places.
So Earl could probably speak to that much better than I could, but my understanding from a limited amount of reading that I've done is that they are designed specifically to accommodate snow removal and those types of things.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Any further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Recommendation from our police chief, Safe Watch Public Safety Camera System Policy, and the recommendation is that the town of New Glasgow move to formally adopt the Safe Watch Public Safety Camera System Policy as the governing framework for the use, management, and oversight of public safety camera technology within the town of New Glasgow. We need a motion to approve.
Yes, Your Worship, I'll motion that we approve the recommendation.
Moved by Councillor MacDonald,
I'll second that, Your Worship.
seconded by Councillor McKenna. Are there any questions on the recommendation?
Question.
Yes, go ahead.
How do these public safety cameras differ from some of the downtown cameras that we currently have in place, or is that just an extension of?
They don't differ. This policy is intended to capture all of those cameras. So how they're used, what they're used for, a standard in terms of daily use. And we did have this policy reviewed by the Office of the Privacy Commissioner, and there were some recommendations. We had legal review as well, so we implemented all of those recommendations.
Question, please.
Yep, go ahead.
Chief, just wondering how they're monitored and if there's consideration to the current cameras that are on the trail system will be replaced with perhaps into this type of camera.
So the answer to the trail updates is definitely beyond my scope because we're into talking about other infrastructure. So I can't answer that. I can't provide an answer to that. But in terms of daily monitoring, simply put, in summary, the cameras cannot be live stream monitored unless you have an intended reasonable purpose to do that. So public safety examples would be the best to use for that. Typically what we see the regular use of the cameras for is going back to retrieve historical data. If we have a report of a crime, typically what we do is we go back and pull that data from a specific time range to see if there's any valuable evidence to provide for the investigation.
Would I be correct in assuming that that's how the vehicle that was involved in an alleged crime recently with taking a necklace off a woman, that vehicle was later identified? Was that through the
So that through, so anything that you had seen in the media with release on that vehicle, that was an integral part of that investigation. We were able to leverage some of our downtown cameras for that investigation, yes, Councillor.
Thank you, good work.
Thank you.
Any further questions? Go ahead,
Question.
Councillor Peters.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just wondering, is there any foreseeable increase costs with implementing this policy?
With implementing this policy here? No, none that we've seen. So in terms of the standards that are in that policy, this is what we have been using to guide us all along. This policy, I want to say, is in excess of 2 years in the making. Quite a bit of work has gone into this with making sure the right folks were reviewing this, because it is absolutely an area that we want to get right when we talk about privacy and protecting those rights. But the standards, the framework of this policy is what we've been using all along, Councilor Peters.
Jean?
Deputy Mayor Dorrington?
And last question from me is, will these cameras be placed at community centres as well, as part of public safety?
So the conversation about increasing infrastructure goes beyond the scope of just the police service, but we have identified that we do need to increase certain infrastructure before we can just start putting up more cameras and expanding that blueprint. So talking about expanding Wi-Fi and other technologies that we need to support the cameras themselves. But the ultimate goal, of course, would be to grow this project for sure.
Thank you. Any further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. We have a recommendation from the Director of regarding the asphalt patching tender. The recommendation is to council that the lowest bidder be awarded the 2025-26 asphalt patching contract. The low bid is Webster Brothers Paving and Concrete Limited of Westpole for total estimated quantities.
To accept the recommendation for the asphalt paving tender?
Moved by Deputy Mayor Dorrington,
I'll second that.
seconded by Councillor Peters. Are there any questions on the motion?
Question.
Go ahead, Councillor Peters.
Thank you, Your Worship. So I know in the past there's been questions about the quality of work being done and that there was going to be more oversight with that. And so, Earl, in your opinion, do you feel that that standard is being upkept for what are we getting our money for what we're paying for quality wise?
Yes, Councillor Peters, a couple of ways to answer that, or not a couple of ways to answer the question, but one before I answer directly your question is, we do not have enough patching to patch throughout the whole town of New Glasgow. So we have to be diligent and smart about where we apply our patches. So along with your question, the best way to accomplish that is to actually assign staff to attend with the contractor and mark the streets needed. The patching program is not meant to patch, like completely patch a street and because we'll run out, we'll never get through the town. It's meant to do the bad areas. So the fear is a contractor will wish to put as much asphalt in a specific area because they're paid by the ton. So in order to ensure that doesn't happen, we will be assigning staff and either go ahead and mark the areas themselves, and that's where the patching will be done, or at least have some control over the contractor during the work.
Thank you.
Any further questions? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried. That completes our recommendations from staff. Under unfinished business, the Town of Trenton sale of service police contract update. As we have been formally notified on June 10th of the Town of Trenton's decision not to renew the New Glasgow Regional Police sale of service agreement We felt it was important for council to have a full package of correspondence regarding the matter, as the town has worked diligently to address the clause with respect to capital requirements, and we provided an amended clause 7 within the agreement to accommodate Trenton's concerns. The town of New Glasgow has not been billing the town of Trenton for any overhead, operating, or capital costs for the building since the inception of the sale of service agreement, and we clearly outlined the capital expectations for police officer vehicle equipment for the remaining term of the agreement. That was for council to fully understand that this contract was worked on diligently by staff with a lot of conversation with the town of Trenton. And with that, and their decision that happened on June 10th, the recommendation from the town of New Glasgow is we acknowledge the letter from the town of Trenton and indicate that the provision of policing service from the Glasgow Regional Police will terminate on March 31st, 2026, which obviously coincides with our fiscal year. In order to properly transition the courtesy services provided to the town of Trenton in a seamless manner, it would be best for the town of Trenton to assume responsibility for their crosswalk guards effective September 1st, 2025, which would include the transfer of payroll services, scheduling, and operational management of their crosswalk guards. New Glasgow Regional Police and town management are to begin work on the assessment of impact on the New Glasgow Regional Police operations and bring forward the analysis as well as recommendations back to council for further consideration to ensure a smooth transition with minimal implications to our operations. So we need a motion to approve those recommendations.
Yes, Your Worship, I'll move that we accept the recommendation.
I'll second that.
Moved by Councillor McDonald, seconded by Councillor Peters. Are there any questions on the motion?
Lots of questions.
Go ahead, Councillor McDonald.
Chief Leo, noting that our service will cease on March 31st, 2026, is there any particular parts of the service that will extend past that, i.e. like court resource services due to any file? Because if someone will be discharged today in the town of Trenton, that may not come to court until 18 months to 24 months. So I mean, typically you wouldn't bring someone else in with the file, you would have the officer that was involved, right? Plus our officers would then be called certainly for court appearances and that, summonses, so maybe you could answer that.
Sure. Councillor McDonald, there will be a tremendous amount of planning that will go into this sort of transition. It's obviously quite large, the scale of everything that will need to be done, but that is one consideration that we've had preliminary discussions on. Understanding the court process for criminal matters and how long it can be dragged out in terms of duration before something has been resolved. And I've had some meetings with our court operations, and the plan will be to transition all outstanding files, investigations, everything that falls within that area of jurisdiction. That the new police service of jurisdiction will be responsible for managing those case files, along with exhibits, evidence that pertains to those investigations. Once they have been transferred over, it will be the responsibility of their court operations to manage those files. And if officers are required from the New Glasgow Regional Police, it will be their responsibility to subpoena those officers to attend court. In short, essentially, we don't want to be managing files for extended periods of time for which are not our responsibility no longer.
Right, understand that. So if an officer is subpoenaed, the New Glasgow Regional Police would still be paying their salary. It wouldn't be something that Trenton would be in this particular case.
That could be a conversation that we would have to, a consideration that we could have as we dive into our planning for that transition.
Because as you know, an officer could be there all day long and not even be called and have to come back the next day. So it does deplete our service.
Absolutely.
Right, so that is something that will need to be moved forward in the conversations with the transition team.
Absolutely, and that, when we look at the transition of the outstanding court files as well, we look to remove ourselves from all burdens, whether it be financial and resource. So that is the thought process that goes into transferring the files themselves.
Right. I do have another question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Or a couple. Regarding section 7, contributions to capital investments, and all where this is where the sticking point was with this trend. If you read the clause and understand it, it seems pretty straightforward that, if there was capital that was required to provide service to the particular town of Trenton, the municipality of Trenton, that it would definitely be paid for, or a portion of it paid for by the town of Trenton. So to me, it doesn't seem like, it's pretty clear the way it's written. With also reasonable proof of all costs, and also negotiations with the town of Trenton over any larger out of the norm capital contributions. I don't know if you have any comments or can.
Sure, I do have a comment on that article, and it will take me some time to get through it, and it may answer some other questions with respect to that particular article. So I will say from the get-go that the news that we received on Tuesday was very disappointing. We understood that having the sale of service was mutually beneficial to both municipalities, and that had been communicated throughout the entire process. And I do want to say, of course, I was only one individual that was involved in this process, and there was a lot of very thoughtful and hard work that was put in by a lot of team members from the municipality of the town of Glasgow. That being said, it was certainly not for the lack of quality service delivery from the Glasgow Regional Police, and for the lack of effort and thoughtfulness that went into the work to try to get a sale of service agreement completed. With respect to Article 7 of the agreement, it was communicated that was the one outstanding issue for the municipality of the town of Trenton that they were not comfortable with. And we had a lot of dialogue over the past 10 months, back and forth, trying to understand exactly what that level, or where that feeling of uncomfortableness was coming from. So we, over the past 10 months, we focused on that article, as we were told that was the one issue with the proposal. Going through the list of tasks that were completed to pacify the unknown risk with that article, as it was stated to us, we looked at the historical context of the capital investment. So trying to understand what the spirit of the capital investment clause was. And over the 14 years that the agreement was in place, there were capital investments that were made by the town of Trenton. And we have several examples that were used. One most recently was the investment in the transition to a new service pistol, body armor, body-worn cameras, those types of things. So historically, there had been that capital investment into equipment, and the only thing new moving forward was the language to capture that in the proposal, trying to modernize, if you will, the sale of service agreement to reflect what was actually happening. So there was some more dialogue and there was modification of the wording. We provided a 5-year capital investment projection for all of our capital. We there was a consultation clause that was embedded. So it was not just us arbitrarily purchasing and then coming back and saying, this is what was owed. There's a consultation clause. There's as you'll see in the proposal, there's an independent dispute resolution clause. We have 2 voting members that sit on the police commission from the town of Trenton, 1 elected official and 1 citizen representative, along with the CAO of Trenton, a non-voting member. There was regular concern brought up to us about the potential of having to invest in a new police station in Capital, which was not part of our 5-year capital plan, of course. We provided many examples of capital investments.
And that would have been the life of the contract, the service agreement that would have been signed or.
My understanding.
Yes.
We were outside of a contract for quite some time, so retroactively as well, so even shorter. We presented some examples of facility investments that we've made over the past number of years, our energy efficiency upgrades, our expansion of our female locker room, our renovations of our court operations and dispatch center, major capital investments in our facility that we never billed for, we never asked for any contribution with those items, just to show an example of this was not the intended spirit of that article. We explicitly stated that we're not building a new police station in the next 5 years, and that's not in the plans. And to my knowledge, at no point through the entire process did we ever receive a counter proposal.
I know our police stations, I think it was paid down in 2022, in around that area, and it was 20 years old at that time. So there's no foreseeable new police station in the future.
No, we've made good investments over the years. We've maintained it very well. Like I said, with the energy efficiency upgrades, and considering our size, and even with the growth that we've had and the changes that we've seen right now in terms of our needs and foreseeable future, the facility that we have meets the needs that we have.
I do have a couple more questions. Okay.
Go ahead.
As far as the heritage
Your
officers,
speaker's off there.
As far as the heritage officers that came from Trenton 14 years ago or so, I believe that we have 2 left.
I believe that's correct. Yes.
Yeah. There's no clause or way that they're moving back to Trenton. I mean, the RCMP taking it's a whole different situation.
That's right. In 2011, all of the officers that came from Trenton were hired as town and Glasgow employees.
All right. My last question: as you're building a plan to move forward, a succession plan, is that something that you'll be looking at also, possibly a 5-year succession plan for the force? Because you'll be looking at a lot of that information. I'm sure Rebecca will be involved in that too.
We do have succession planning in place in terms of resources, but in terms of our strategy moving forward with the impact, we still, again, even obviously with the motion on the floor, only started preliminary conversations to measure that impact. So in terms of what that strategy will look like for succession for the next 5 years as it specifically relates to this issue, that hasn't been identified yet. If that answers your question.
Yes, it does. Just one last little statement. I just want yourself and the force and council to understand that I am 100% behind the regional police force here. We do need to keep our young officers. We do need to keep that blend of experience in that. And I know we worked hard at transitioning some new officers, some secured seats, and that with the Police Academy, and I don't want to lose that. So we'll do everything we possibly can to support you.
Thank you, Councilor McDonald. I do want to say this obviously is challenging. It was in a challenging situation for the organization, and I have felt a tremendous amount of support from mayor and council since Tuesday, so I do appreciate it, thank you.
And just to clarify, I think you meant support for the Glasgow Police Department,
That is correct.
not the regional police, department, which it
Glasgow
no
Region-
longer is.
Glasgow Regional Police, well, it's still is.
Well, I guess I'm.
31st.
Yes, Your Worship. Your Worship.
Councillor Fraser.
Yeah, just, this is a simple matter. I presume the fact that the agreement expires in 2028, the present agreement?
No,
Did I not read that?
the agreement would go to 2028. It expired in 2023.
Okay, so presently expired.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, that's enough of that.
Council, Deputy Mayor Dorrington.
Just a question, with regards to the force, how are the members feeling? Because it came as a shock. It came as a shock to the board. I know we were negotiating in good faith. It came as a shock to us as council and the board. However, how are your folks feeling and dealing over there? And secondly, in terms of knowing that we're saying March 31st, they're going to be going under the RCMP, and so I imagine the RCMP will have some timelines in there if they're gonna be able to meet the March 31st. That's our deadline. But it hasn't been theirs. They're just saying that, the RCMP will get in contact and start the transition. Well, they should start soon, so because our deadline is March 31st.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Dorrington, and I do appreciate your thoughtful question. And since the onset, we knew the outcome was one of two decisions, and I have to say on Tuesday it was very disappointing. We had a very limited amount of time to notify our entire staff before the information became public, and since we received the news, that has been my top priority and concern is the welfare of our members and the impact to our organization. We did what we could with the time that we had and communicated as personally as we possibly could in a short period of time. And I was able to lean on the rest of my management staff to start planning and having departmental meetings and offering multiple opportunities to have in person. So to be able to have some dialogue and listen to folks and their concerns, and albeit we haven't identified, like I said, we haven't fully understood the impact, so therefore we haven't identified our strategy moving forward, which will be, it's a very complex issue, so I think the strategies will be many, and they will be complex to be able to navigate that. So, it definitely has caused some stress within the organization for sure because of the uncertainty. But we do have a very resilient team, and we are supporting one another, and we've committed to open and transparent dialogue to make sure that every bit of information is being shared as soon as we have it. So that has really helped. We've been an open book with what we know and what the process looks like. As far as the question with timeline, I've had some preliminary conversations with the RCMP, and I want to be open and honest, and part of our communication with our people, it's got to be understood that the RCMP didn't solicit this opportunity. The town of Trenton solicited the RCMP. So part of our communication has been with our members to understand how this has unfolded, to make sure that they're well informed, and to emphasize the importance of remaining professional and still focusing on the importance of our relationships with everybody involved, and we want to keep those intact. So preliminary conversations with the RCMP have been extremely positive, but there will be a lot of planning that goes into that. So we haven't talked timelines. Other than this evening, the only timeline that has really been communicated is what was in the letter from the town of Trenton that talked about the 6 to 12 month period. So there have been no conversations yet with the RCP around timelines, but there certainly will be. Thank you.
Councillor McKenna?
Thank you. Chief, I just want to refer to the letter of June 10th from Mayor-elect of the town of Trenton. The decision was not made lightly and in no way reflects the service Trenton has received from 2011 from the Glasgow Police Department chief and officers. This decision was based solely on the increased police costs and capital costs proposed in the contract and the potential future impact of those costs on the Trenton taxpayer. So, my understanding, the capital costs were related to equipment for the officers, correct?
That is correct. Historically, that has been the contribution in the examples that I had used. That was the type of capital investment, and like I said, we provided that 5-year forecast, which was no different from what we had seen in the past.
The town took exception to those costs being borne by the town?
My only understanding is they took exception to the clause itself as proposed in the agreement.
So I'm trying to understand this here, that they felt that we should be paying the cost of the officers that are allocated to Trenton. We should be paying for their equipment costs.
I can't speak to what their perception was. What I can say is that they commonly referred to it as an unknown risk. I don't know what went into their risk assessment matrix. I know what information we provided, how that was interpreted, or what else they used to assess that risk. I don't know.
Just a question, and you may not be able to answer this, but is it true that we have provided 24/7 operations in the town of Trenton, the police services?
That is correct.
Is that what we're going to be getting with the RCMP?
I haven't seen the RCMP proposal.
I grew up in the town of Pictou. I know that there are different levels of service during the day and after hours as well. So just wondering, I'm sure that they're looking at this. Just leave that there.
Sure. Thank you.
Any further questions? Go ahead, Councillor Peters.
Thank you, Your Worship. So, just to clarify, so you're not familiar with what is being proposed by the RCMP. I'm curious to know financially what the difference would be, and also with the level of service, like the differences between the level of services offered and the cost difference. But we don't know that information. Is that correct?
That's correct, Councillor Peters. The only thing that was really different from what had been communicated to us as to what you could pull out of the letter, it was communicated to us. They understood the rising costs of policing. Everyone understands the rising costs of any service. That's a reality, and that certainly was not communicated. It was only communicated to us that the stumbling block was specifically the capital clause, Article 7. Because I do know that the statement had been made that the costs, the proposals were comparable in cost.
Thank you.
Just before we vote, I just do want to mention that there has been, although we responded to the questions that were given us, some not written, for example, the last response was in relation to a conversation I had with Mayor Duff. We received no response from the town of Trenton. With the information given, there was no response back. So there was no discussion on clarification or what that meant, or if they were happy or not happy. So that's I think important to communicate as well. So with that, unless there are any other further questions, we'll take the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you, Chief, and thank you to all of your staff.
Thank you, Your Worship.
They're very much appreciated by the town of New Glasgow.
Thank you.
Next, under unfinished business, we have a recommendation for committees of council. The motion is to approve the citizen appointments for the committee of councils as presented. Accessibility Committee, Jessica Nairn and Ivan Willis. Forbes Lake Watershed Source Water Protection Committee, Nick Monroe.
Yes, Your Worship, I so move the adoption of these new members.
Moved by Councillor Peters, seconded by Deputy Mayor Dorrington. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. And next, under unfinished business, we have a verbal report by Councillors McKenna and Peters on their experience at the FCM conference in Ottawa.
Yes, Your Worship, thank you very much. It was an amazing experience, and it's always a privilege to be able to represent and to be able to dialogue with others across the country and what they're doing. I'm going to try to be brief and concise, which is something I struggle with, so bear with me. In my experience, and Councillor McKenna can speak to this and fill in the gaps as well. The main issues that were coming out to me in the conference was the climate change, of course with all the forest fires out west, homelessness, addiction and mental health, cost of living increases, and inclusivity. So I attended a number of different, I probably won't get into too many details, but one of them was implementing your design for equity, and that was really, really well done. It was offered by FCM. I have lots of notes on it, which I will spare you the details. However, it is on, they have an equity lens tool on their website, on the FCM website, if you wanted to check it out. Also, one of the things I attended was equipping municipal leaders to combat misinformation, because there is certainly a lot of misinformation out there, and so that was very, very interesting. And one of the takeaways was that before, with misinformation, there was some belief that if I ignore it, it will go away. And FCM says that they're not seeing that anymore. So to come up with different responses, and they certainly offered some suggestions for that, and which was also very helpful. And I think, we also had an opportunity to speak at the booths, which is always very helpful. One organization that we spoke with was Destination One, and they actually do work in recruitment. And they had a different model than, which I thought was very interesting, which was subscribing, purchasing a subscription, and that gave you what you needed for the year, as opposed to spending huge amounts of money recruiting. And I thought that was a very interesting model. So anyway, there was a lot of talk about how your dollar doesn't go as far as it used to. And that was a trend that was talked about almost every presentation that I attended. So we need to do things differently and more succinctly, and that's about it. But it was certainly it was an absolute privilege.
Thank you,
No, I want to thank council for allowing me the opportunity to take in my first Federation of Canadian Municipalities conference. This is not working. I wanted to see the agenda before I decided if I wanted to apply to go, and once I saw it, I did ask if I could attend it, and I'm really glad that I did. The workshops were diverse, and they certainly were insightful. The trade show was amazing. There were literally 300 or more booths there, and everybody was welcoming and answered questions, and some neat things that are a real breadth and depth of different things that were available to municipalities to use to improve, and everybody took our business card, has been calling me and contacting me ever since. We didn't plan it this way, but the three of us ended up picking our sessions, and we were in a lot of the same sessions together. And I think that's because what we're experiencing here. One of the sessions, a lot of the ones that I wanted to see were related to the unhoused and addictions and mental health. And we had an opportunity to hear some really good firsthand best practices, I think, would be the answer from places like Gatineau, Edmonton, and other communities where the government, both municipal, provincial, and federal governments are taking the lead on these. And we actually heard the presentation from the mayor of Gatineau, and later on a group of us were going over to, we were invited with a group of Edmonton councillors to go and meet and chat in Gatineau. We drove right by the community, the container community that was set up for unhoused, and the view of it was very impressive on how it looked, and that it was front and center. It wasn't out of sight, out of mind. It looked to be well maintained, and something that certainly worthy to see that there are some innovative solutions. Many discussions and networking with colleagues from across Canada, as well as within Nova Scotia. Had a great conversation with some of the Halifax City Councillors who have their unhoused population down to 50 people right now, which is an eye-opener for us. For me particularly, as to how they've managed to get it down to that. And perhaps we need to dig deeper to find out what their secret sauce is so that we can look at what we can do here. The Prime Minister spoke, the new Prime Minister, Mark Carney. I didn't get into the room with him, but the other two did. I was sent to the wrong room, and it was the overflow room, and by the time I got back down, I was not allowed in the regular room. So I was sentenced to watch him on TV. Those of you who know me know just how disappointed I must have been by that. Other workshops that I attended, I attended a workshop on bail reform, and I've had a brief conversation with the chief about that as well. And it was a real eye-opener to hear some of the worst case examples of bail problems across Canada, but also just generally some of the frustrations of officers that I think have very much been echoed by my conversations with the chief here as well, and thank you for that conversation. Building healthy and resilient communities was a great one as well. The other thing that I had an opportunity to do is, some of you may know Kaylee Brennan, who was working for Safe Harbor here in Glasgow. She's taken on the executive director of Matthew House in Ottawa, and Matthew House is a shelter for new Canadians coming in, and helps them get settled and moved into the community once they land into the community. And they have a furniture bank, and I was invited to tour the furniture bank. So I took a little time away from the formal conference and traveled out to the Matthew House Furniture Bank, being run by newcomers, paid employees of Matthew House, and that they are making it work with through the government funding for people in need, not just newcomers, but people on social assistance, people who are leaving transition homes, people who were unhoused and are now moving into housing who need that, people who are getting out of jail and wanting to make a fresh start. So the furniture bank is for all that type, and it was quite impressive to see just what they're doing there. And we are hearing that there's going to be a restore here from Habitat for Humanity. It's now public, opening soon, and it's our hope that perhaps they will also, some restores of Habitat for Humanity across Canada also have a furniture bank attached to them, and I'm hoping that they will move in that direction soon. Again, I want to thank Council for allowing me the opportunity to travel to Ottawa. I learned a lot, networked a lot, and it certainly was worthwhile, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Jim and Dawn. Really great recap of your time there. And I always think when you go to these, there's so much to learn. But the one thing you come away with knowing is that our problems are the same as right across our country, and we're not, things that we're facing, we're not facing alone. So it's great to hear what others are feeling and saying, and thank you for representing our town so well, I guess.
We did.
We did.
We did.
I will say that I did lose my phone, which is a trend when I travel, so, but I did get it back.
Good job, good job.
And I think that Jessica would, if Councillor McDonald were here, she'd echo their comments as well. I think it was
Yes,
really worthwhile as new councillors to take this in. So,
she was, very pleased and happy to have been there. So, thank you, everyone, and next on our agenda, under new business, we have an email request from the Jubilee. Oh, sorry. Oh, yes, a budget for the Victor County Wellness Center, I'm sorry. That's presented in your package.
Motion to receive the motion.
Moved by Councillor McDonald,
I'll second that.
seconded by Councillor Peters. Are there any questions on the motion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Now the email request from the Jubilee, and it's a request for exemption to the smoking bylaw. And the information is in your package. They're requesting a temporary exemption from the town's non-smoking bylaw for the duration of the Jubilee weekend, scheduled for August 1st to 3rd, 2025. Moved by Councillor Peters, seconded by Deputy Mayor Dorrington. Are there any questions on the motion?
Question.
Question, go ahead.
I believe we had this last year.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, okay, no, just wanted to make sure.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, thank you, everyone. Our meeting is done, and we're going to move in camera.